I am that excited. With us this morning is Miriam. And I like to call her Miriam S. because I always foul up the last name. It's Swartzentruber.
Swartzentruber.
Swartzentruber. And how can that be? Because there's 1,000 of them around here. But today is a dream I've had for 5-6 years. Like many of you, about, I want to say, Miriam, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, your family came to the community. Mm-hmm. And like most of you, we wanted to buy the inexpensive eggs and the pastries and the pastries and the eggs. And I started to be rambunctious in your store. Would you say that?
I mean, my dad said that, but I didn't.
And we got to know Miriam and the rest of the clan, Ananias and Ada, and we actually took Ada down to Jamesport for the baby.
Mm-hmm.
For Robert.
For Robert. And so I've always gotten a charge and a kick. And whenever my kids would come to town, I'd say, I've got to take you down to the Amish family. And we would come down there. Miriam, let's just catch people up. A couple of years ago, you made the well, let's back up.
Okay.
So coming to Decatur County, do you remember that? And what was it like? Where did you all come from?
We came from Gladwin, Michigan.
Okay.
And I believe in 4th grade when we moved from Michigan out to Iowa.
And what was your initial thoughts being here?
It was different at first, and then I went to school and I made new friends. It took a while, but I got there.
Now you've got Amish school. There's a building that you all have.
A private Amish school, yes.
And where is that?
That is in Missouri, like the Missouri border. It's like right on the other side, down there in those roads somewhere.
And dare I submit that you were like, is Henry, your brother Henry, older or younger than you?
I'm the oldest of the family, and then it's Henry.
You're the oldest of the family. And so you really were momming when your mother was working hard. Tell us.
Basically, yes.
I never got attitude from you. You were always pretty upbeat.
I try to stay positive. I've always tried to stay positive, because if you get negative, then everything gets negative. Mm-hmm. So I try to stay positive.
And I would say that you were very happy for many, many years.
I was.
The Amish world, how did you perceive all of us who would come and kind of gawk a little bit?
I thought it was like, I didn't know what to think at first. And then I got used to it because I had the store, and I watched the store every day. I was in the store every day, and I got used to all these people coming in there, and so all I could do, the least I could do, is have a smile on my face every day.
And you did.
So, yeah.
You know, I've been doing some self-reflection personally lately, and one of the things I'm kind of mad at myself at is that I never said to your father or mother, you could be charging more for your product. Did anybody ever go there and think, oh, this is Ray Lynn, by the way. Mommy is here, Ray Lynn. But I look back now and think I should have said to Ananias and Ada, you could get $4 for these dozens of eggs. What did we pay? $2.53?
I think it was like $1, then it went up to $2 because the store prices went up, and they're like, oh, maybe we can go up $1. So.
But did you know what a great deal you were giving us? You did?
Yes. After I left the Amish, I noticed how cheap my parents' store was. I never noticed that until I actually went and bought groceries myself. So
that was a revelation to you in a way.
Yes.
But they went to Hy-Vee. The parents went to Hy-Vee. I think they knew
They
what
did.
the prices were. They weren't out to make tons of money, right?
Yeah, no, they were just out to help people and try to get their money out of stuff. So,
Can you reflect back on what it was like? I know I was there one night. I sat at that big table with all of you. I think we had hot dogs and beans and something else, and I loved it. And then your father said it's haircut night, and he started cutting the hair of some of your brothers. Overall, what was it like? What's your memory of that your family being there on that property in that beautiful house and all the wood downstairs? Talk about that a little bit.
I miss not being with my family, but also I miss, like they had all the hardwood floors, they had everything, like all their furniture was just beautiful. And I didn't really notice how beautiful that furniture is because I saw it every day while I was still Amish. And now I go home and I'm like, I go home to visit them sometimes, and I'm look at the furniture, I'm like, wow, like it's so beautiful made.
But there were a lot of kids in that building.
Mm-hmm.
You were kind of like a second mom.
I was.
But tell us about the happiness you felt, because I think you did.
I did. I felt happy to take care of my siblings while my parents left the house. I felt very responsible for my siblings. And then every time something happens, like they hurt themselves or they, fall, I didn't know what to do. So we didn't have a phone to call my parents or anything. But I did my best I could to just take care of them. And I baked in the bakery and all that stuff.
Did many people come in and try to take pictures, photographs?
Yes.
And did you scold them?
I did, and then one day this lady, somebody was loading up flour in their, like one of these Amish folks or whatever, came bought flour, and they came up to the store, and I watched their horse while they were loading up the flour and the sugar and everything. And this customer, what we call English customer, came up to me and she's like, "Can I take a picture of you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." My mom got so upset with me. She saw that she took a picture of me, and I'm like, I really don't know what. I didn't want to tell them no because they like pictures. They want to see. They use pictures as their memories, like they can go back and look at those. And she got really upset with me that I let her take a picture of me. But at that time, I kind of knew I was going to leave the Amish. So I was like, well, I broke so many rules already in the church. Like, why not break more? That's all it was.
Excuse me, can you explain that rule? Why they have that rule?
I guess all my parents told me, well, I got baptized in the Amish. And they basically told me that letting someone take a picture of our face is like making a sin towards their rules. If I can't
understand why that was.
No, it's just the Amish culture, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah.
This is a good opportunity, so we could talk to you probably all day, but can you give us a glimpse into the church life? I know that every Sunday we see, and we look, us English folk, we see the starched outfits and the neatly prepared outfits. Was that a Saturday night ritual where your mom got everything out and ironed? And then how important was Sunday to all of you?
So basically, like, we went to church every Sunday, and then we washed all the clothes. We ironed them, we folded them, we put them back into our drawers, and then Sunday morning came, and we just pick out a dress, and we wear the white apron and cape and apron, like, every Sunday. That was just a thing, and then you could wear different colors of dresses. The men always wore the same outfit.
And you often traveled on a Sunday, right? You had to go somewhere.
Yes, we had to, like, there was a community, and then everybody took a turn in the community to have church at their house.
And was that like a big scary thing? Like, if I'm having people at my house, it's World War II for 2 weeks, get it ready. What was it like at your place?
So we had to literally clean, like, there was some people that were in our church, they saw like a spider web or whatever in the corner, they would be like, oh. So like they would just, like, they were grossed out about it, and so we had to literally clean the walls and ceilings and the corners, and we moved everything out, and we cleaned like for 2 weeks.
Can you give us an idea about Bible time? Please don't laugh at me, everybody. But what Bible do you have?
They have. That's a good question. I don't even remember what. I think it was it's called a Holy Bible.
Was it in German?
It was in not in German, but it was how they preach at church. So I guess it was in German. I don't really know.
Okay.
So.
And how intense? I mean, you've seen just a few moments of our worship service, and this is quite different layout than what we normally do.
Yes.
But can you paint us the picture? What is a service like for an Amish kid? Are they bored just like our English kids?
They are. They start this. They start the service at like 9 in the morning, and it goes until 12. Sometimes until 12:30 to 1. So the little kids like her, they get very impatient, and so they, have a lot of toys, a lot of snacks. They just try to keep them entertained.
But as a 12, 13, 14-year-old, did the speaker, the elders, or whoever presented at church, did they get you fired up?
No.
Really?
No, they did their usual thing. They sang 3 hymns or whatever, and then they preached and prayed, and they kneeled down, and whatever they all do. They did that for 2 hours.
Okay.
And we just sat there, and most of the time we fell asleep because it sounded like they were singing, and it was just so relaxing, and we just fell asleep sometimes, and we got in trouble. Sometimes our parents are like, "Why are you sleeping?" Like after church, you're like, "Why did you sleep all service?" I don't know, I was tired.
And then I think your daddy in the last year was called to the office of elder.
Yes, he was.
I know he was excited about that.
He was nervous but excited.
So this is a personal question now, and all you gotta do is say, "Mr. Paul, you're gone too far," and I'll have to ask another question.
Okay.
How would you? And Miriam, none of us in this room are here to judge you. We are
No, I know.
This is a large crowd for us because people are just dying to hear about what you need to share, Would you say that you and Miriam's relationship with Christ, was it something for you at 12? Were you a spiritual kid?
At the time, it was just a thing, like at 12 years old, I just went to church because everybody else did. I just saw everybody else. I saw my parents going to church. And I knew who God was, but I didn't really understand, like, what he all does and who he is. So I kind of went to church because everybody else did. It was just this thing where I did what everybody else did.
I can't imagine what my kids would say if we had them sit through 3 hours.
It was hard.
It was.
It was. But I grew up that way, and I kind of got used to it, so.
Would you say your dad was a spiritual man?
He was.
Is?
I mean, he is still. He had his times to where he would just yell at me, and I felt like, but I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he was trying to discipline me. He was trying to teach me these things to not do and to do. So at the time, I felt like he's being mean to me, like any other kid would. But he was actually just
trying to bring you along.
Yes.
Here I go again with some introspection. I'm remembering coming into your store and showing off the iPhone. and trying to get you excited about it, and then Evelyn grabbing me and saying, "Don't do that, that's not right." When did you start to say to yourself inside, I wonder what it's like on the other side?
I would say I was like 17, and I've always wondered what it would be to leave the Amish, and I always thought I want to leave the Amish, and then I went in and out a lot.
In your mind?
Yeah, I thought about it, and then I didn't think about it, and then I thought about it again, and then I got baptized, and
Well, how old are you when you get baptized?
I was 18. Basically, the Amish rule was if you want a boyfriend, you have to be baptized
Oh, really?
first, and then you can have a boyfriend. So, I'm gonna be honest. At that time, I was like, well, maybe if I get baptized, I can get a boyfriend. And I got baptized, and 6 months later, this guy asked me to be his girlfriend. So.
Where did you get baptized?
I don't even remember whose house it was at.
Oh, but it was like a tub? Or how'd they-
No, so you basically go on your knees and they do their little speech. They do their speech,
Prayer.
yeah. And then they take this glass of water and they do a couple driplets on your head.
That's it.
That's it. And then elder lady comes and puts your cap back on and ties it. And you get back up.
And did y'all have a big party at your house?
No,
But
it was just a normal day at church. It's just what they call baptism.
But what was it like for you when jerks like me came in? And there were plenty of guys like me that would come in probably and, just kind of get your goat a little bit. Did you ever, with your buddies, I'm sure you have some girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you knew Edna and Elizabeth out there at the Kellerton Turnoff, but your
Yes.
circle of friends, did you ever kind of bounce around what was in your head about maybe jumping over? Or was that a personal, I better keep this to myself thing?
I kept it to myself for a couple of years just because if I tell somebody and my parents find out, then they're gonna question me. They're gonna get on to me because I'm baptized, and I shouldn't be thinking that. They think I shouldn't be thinking to leave the Amish if I'm baptized, because it'd be like breaking their rules.
Did you ever find yourself, this is a personal question, praying about whether you should jump over or not? Did you?
I did a couple of times.
You did.
Yes. It was just, it like automatically came to my mind while I was doing a prayer. It came into my mind, I just kind of took it with my prayer. That if, Lord, if you want me to leave the Amish, then I shall do it on your timing, so.
Sure. And then the time frame, when you really got in your heart, I'm going to do this. But then the second guessing, because I know your mother told me that if you got married, you would get a house built for you.
Yes.
And lots of gifts, maybe a little bit of a dowry. Were you weighing all that when you, and just tell us, did you have one singular day where you said, I'm doing it, darn it, I'm doing it?
The last year before I left, I was going back and forth because I was like, well, if I don't get married Amish, then I won't have all these things that they give you. Like, they give you money, they give you all this furniture, they give you blankets, they give you everything, basically, to get started, to be a parent. And I wanted that stuff, but my brother left in January.
Okay.
And
Henry.
the way he left the Amish, he left in front of my parents' face, and my dad was so upset that my brother told me, no, I'm leaving the Amish. And I remember my dad trying to close the door, and he was in the middle of the door and the wall, and he was trying to get out. My dad was just not giving up. And after he left, and I saw how it tore up my parents,
Yes.
I wasn't gonna, I was thinking before he left, I want to leave. And after he left, I was like, no, I can't do this to my parents. I can't. It's too rough on them. It's too hard on them to lose me too. And not even a month later, me and my then Amish boyfriend, I knew he was gonna leave the Amish, and if he leaves the Amish, I'm gonna leave too. That Sunday before I left Monday, I guess he told the elders in church that he's gonna leave, and it came out in church that he's gonna leave, and somehow my parents found out that he's leaving, and then that evening I just called his brother's wife. They were ex-Amish. I just called his wife and was like, "Hey, can you come pick me up? I wanna just go," and that's how I left. It was really hard, but I did it.
How many tears did you shed? Or maybe not.
I don't remember shedding any tears, but I did remember missing my family a lot at first, because it was so different from wearing a dress every day to either leggings or skirts or shorts. I didn't wear shorts for a year after I left because I was so uncomfortable in them. I just wasn't used to wearing them. So it took me a while to get there. I left with $70, and my friends, ex-Amish friends, helped me out, get started, and then I paid them back once I got a job.
So the pipeline of communication kind of stopped, didn't it, with you and Mom and Dad?
It did. They called. Well, I left them a note on their phone, their phone shack, what they have.
Yeah.
And then I left. That way, they still know that I left, and they know where I'm at. So they're not like worried that somebody kidnapped me or anything like that. So.
When you got out, and I'll use the terminology on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon but were you like a kid on Christmas morning?
I was. I felt like I was loose. Like I felt like I was like free, basically. Like I.
I'm thinking McDonald's.
Not quite that bad. But I felt very scared, but very excited. Because I didn't have a job, I had to get going because I knew that I had to get a job to be able to survive. Because I knew my parents weren't going to be there for me and be like, "Hey, here's a table of food, you can just eat it off."
And any second guessing early on?
No.
Really?
Now, well, at one point when my Amish boyfriend, after he left, he cheated on me, and then everything just kind of tore my heart out. I'm like, why did he cheat on me, but finally I was like, it is what it is.
So let's give people a quick timeline. I remember seeing you working, speaking of McDonald's, the drive-up window in Osceola, I guess it was. You've had a couple of different jobs. It's not been easy. Can you paint that picture?
Yes, so I left the Amish. I started working at the furniture place in
Plaza Furniture.
Plaza Furniture in Leon.
With
And I
Rick.
started cleaning furniture, and then I didn't really like that job because I like baking. I don't like cleaning or anything. I mean, I like cleaning, but I don't like cleaning every day the same furniture.
Welcome to my world.
So I started working there, and then I got a job at Utzi's. I had Plaza Furniture, Utzi's, and Main Street Brick House, the ice cream shop. I worked at those 3 shops all at once. And that's when I really started, because the people I lived with, they didn't charge me any rent, because they knew, I was trying to get started. And then after a year I was living there, they started charging me. But that year, I built up a lot of money.
Good.
So.
You're working now. I know you're working at the Decatur County Hospital in the kitchen.
Yes.
Okay, and that's a good stable job.
Yes, so I left all those 3 jobs and I went to Casey's for almost 3 years.
Really?
In Leon.
Oh,
And then 2 years. It must have been more like 2 years.
They've got good pizza there.
Well, I made them every morning, so I didn't think they were that good. Because I smelled them every morning. I'm like, ugh, same Casey's
Thank you
pizza.
very much. Okay.
And then I went from Casey's to McDonald's, and I was at McDonald's for not even a year because I was manager there, and it's just
Did you
a
and
lot of things.
Were you and Henry talking? Her brother Henry left also.
Mm-hmm.
Were you giving each other pep talks? Is that in my head, not yours?
Well, some days we do. Most of the time we call each other and we give each other, hard times. And he has a girlfriend, and I'm like, "You like her?" He's like, "Yeah, she's cute." I'm like, "Okay." And I met her, and she's a really nice lady. So
I'm going to open it up to the group in a moment, but I do want to get to whenever we do these interviews, and we've been doing a lot of them lately, I always want to bring in Christ to the picture. You shared with me that you've had a little bit of a valley lately, and yet you've had kind of a rebirth.
yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So after my Amish boyfriend left me, or we broke up, I kind of went, you could say, wild. Like I went partying. I went, I partied every weekend. I
Wow.
was a partier.
Drugs?
No,
Good.
no drugs. No, just alcohol. But still, that can be bad. And
Evelyn does that. Go ahead.
and so I got pregnant with her, and then that kind of slowed me back down. And then after I was 6 months pregnant with her, I met this guy, and he didn't have a job or anything. I was with him for almost 2 years, and it got to where he would yell at me every day and just neglect her, and it was getting to be too much. And he didn't believe in going to church. So I tried telling myself, I'm like, he made me think to myself, like, oh, it's okay if you don't go to church. Church people are just think they're everything, like. And he was just talking bad about all these church people, and I just didn't go to church for almost 2 years. And then I left him, and I started going back to church. And I slowly got myself back together. I went to, it's called Ashes to Beauty in Lebanon, Missouri. It's a women's retreat. And there I laid a lot of stuff at the altar, and I just gave Jesus everything. And then I came home, and I kind of went back into my old ways again. I didn't, stay, the way I should have been. And then I went back just 2 weeks ago, and I finally let Jesus take over my life. I gave him my heart. I gave him everything. So.
The words that have just come out of your mouth could have come out of any of ours. We all have peaks, and we all
Yes.
have valleys, and we just try to get back at the straight and narrow. I want to let you know, I know you told me that you're attending church across the street from La Bota in Leon.
The Living Hope. Yes.
You enjoy it there.
Yes.
We would like to let you know that you're always welcome here.
Okay.
We're nice people, I think.
Oh, right. As soon as I came into this place last night, I was like, these people are very nice.
Does anybody else like to ask a question of Miriam?
Yeah.
Don has one.
Does the Amish policy about photographs have anything to do with the biblical injunction against graven images?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it does. And that makes sense the way you said that, because I know kind of why they don't, but I don't know how to say it. So it's just their rules, basically. They don't believe it's their culture. They don't believe in taking pictures. So.
How,
Yeah. What are some of the most important beliefs in the Amish community?
They're the way they make their clothes. Like you see all the pleats in their dresses. All the pleats are perfectly in order. And if they go 1 inch over that, they get in trouble at church. And they have to make their clothes to the rules, otherwise they get in trouble. Just they get punished in church.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that look?
So basically, if you get punished in church, the easiest way for me to describe it is they basically tell you you're shunned from everybody and you have to stay in your house and you can't go anywhere for a certain amount of time. So,
What are some of the most important religious beliefs in the Amish community?
the religious beliefs. So you mean like taking pictures and
Crucifixion, salvation,
Ba-
heaven,
basically,
hell.
yes, like they talk all of every day about how bad it is to go to hell, and you never want to go there. And my parents basically told me that I'm going to hell because I left the Amish, and I was because they believe that if you were born Amish, you have to die Amish, and that you're gonna go to hell if you don't die Amish if you're born Amish.
Diana, I got a question. At least all your new friends will be there.
I have two questions,
Okay.
but now I can't remember one of them.
Welcome to the club.
Okay, so in your family, as they're moving away and moving back to Michigan, how are you feeling about all of that?
I feel it's very hard to see them go, and they all the time they say and tell me they're like, you should come back Amish and you should go with us. You should move with us to Michigan, and you know you could get an Amish guy, you could get married Amish, and I try not to let that bother me, but at the same time it's very hard to see them go. And the church they're going to over there, I'm excited at the same time because they basically told me that once they move over there, their church allows them to let us sit at the table and eat with them.
So you could go visit.
Yes, we can go visit. They don't know if we can stay the night there, but we can eat a meal with them, which now we can't since they're in the church they're at now. So.
Is that because they're different orders that have different
Yes.
strictness? The ones
Yes,
here are
different
more strict?
strictness, different rules. They don't want to allow all that because they're afraid it's going to tear their church apart on their families.
Other question. It must have been extremely difficult for you to make that decision, especially when it deals with your family. And have you ever had second thoughts?
No,
So
I can honestly say no.
that's a really big decision, and that
Yes.
speaks an awful lot. I'm not
Yes.
going to ask you private questions about why you left, but I just feel that it must have been very powerful.
It was a very big decision, but I never regret it. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, maybe I could go back Amish, and then I'm like, no, I couldn't live without air conditioner. I couldn't. There's no way. I have to have my bedroom ice cold to be able to sleep. So I'm like, no, I don't want to go back Amish.
What else? What else could you tell us is like
And-
cool to you now? That
My,
you would-
my phone used to be very cool to me because I didn't have a phone when I was Amish.
Okay.
And now I wish I wouldn't have a phone because I feel like it takes time away from me and her.
Yes.
Like I'm on my phone and I'm like, why am I on my phone? I could be coloring with her. I could be doing all these other things with her. And I just lay my phone away and I go play with her. So.
Where do you think your parents and the elders got their authority to have the rules and the policy that you're talking about in the Amish community? Is it the Bible? Is it something beyond that?
It's the culture, their culture. They're basically the ones that became preachers. They were told all these rules, and then they do them kind of the way they want them. And then they tell the whole church about it. The ones that are joined to church, ones that are not baptized or anything, they don't share their rules with them or anything. And I honestly don't know where they got all their religious beliefs and all their strict rules and everything from, but it's not from the Bible, because you can read in the Bible that you don't have to wear dresses. You don't have to, and you can if you want to, but you don't have to. God is not saying, hey, you have to wear a dress to be able to get to heaven.
And with pleats just right.
Yes. No, he's not. You can come in your work clothes. I read that already, and you can come in your work clothes and he wouldn't care.
Miriam, we're this building, this church, we used to be a lot of people, and we've dwindled some, and now we're starting to want to build back. And we're trying to figure out what things we should do to encourage younger people your age. What are you, 23?
23.
23? What do you want in a church? Can you just kind of give us some tips? And you talked about something last night that I still don't understand. Could you go into that? You talked about you want to go up to the altar. Dig into that.
So, I went to Ashes to Beauty, and that's where I got started on all this. All these people, when they sing music or worship, they go up to the front and they put up their hands, however they want to do it, or their heart on their hand on their chest, or just worship. And I never understood why they do that. And then one of my servers was saying that just go up there and experience it. And I was scared at first, and I went up there, and it was a whole different vibe. Like, it was. A lot of people think I'm crazy when I say this, but I say I feel closer to Jesus.
By walking up
And being by the altar and singing with, like, Jesus, worshiping, and I don't know, like, every time I put my hands up, I'm like, I feel like I'm alone in the whole room with Jesus by my side. That's how I feel.
Sounds like we need to get more people to not sit on the back row.
Just tell them to, don't be shy, go up there. So.
I mean, even today, I felt funny putting my hands up.
You do at first. You do, and you think, oh, what do these people think of me? They think I'm crazy. They think, But then I tell myself, I'm like, Jesus, don't tell. You can't read in the Bible, worry about what people think. Just, yeah, it really stood out to me, and that's one thing I'm working through it now, is just don't think what people think of you. Just live in God's presence and walk with Him each and every day.